We're going to go ahead and get started, everyone. Hey, thanks, everyone. We are, so today we're going to do part 2 on winning multiple offers and how to handle it. Let me just start off by saying, the market is shifting. The market is shifting right before your eyes. I think we kind of had a thought that we were going to have multiple offers and everything like that, but I just want to really encourage you and think, man, we really believe it's shifting right in front of us. If you wrote an offer a month ago, you didn't compete against much of anything. Now you're competing with like 4 or 5, and Maggie found out some, over 10 offers. So we have got to be ready. You've got to be ready. If you're not ready for it, you and your clients are going to be hurt, and especially your clients. So you have to lean into it. It's kind of fun. It's kind of scary. And I would say this: one of the things you have to be so important now is you have to be ready to be fast. If somebody says they want to see a home today, you can't say, hey, can we go this weekend? If it's been on the market a couple weeks, yes, but if it just goes on the market, there's a chance that it could go really quick. Just so you know, so be ready. You have to go and might even take the lead on your clients, because the media hasn't come out and said, hey, there's multiple offers. So we know that because we're in the business. So really, I encourage you to take advantage of that and really use that. And you might even call your clients and say, hey, we got to start taking this thing serious, because it is going to the next level right before our eyes. We kind of knew, but we didn't know it was going to happen this quick, this fast with each one of us. You got it? Okay, so if you're new here to the Perry Group and you've never been at a team meeting, if you could stand up and introduce yourself and tell us how long you've been in real estate for. So brand new, never stood up at a team meeting, we want you to stand up. Okay.
My name is Michelle Asler. I'm with Team Plus Realty currently. I'm currently a media. I've been in the real estate industry for 13 years now and a realtor for 6.
Sweet.
Hi everybody, I'm Tom Snyder. I've been in the real estate business for 6 years. I managed a team back in Tucson, which was the top team for a while, and I've done over 250 transactions in that 6 years, so I have quite a bit of experience.
Sweet, cool. Okay.
My name's Jade Cole. I am just grounding in real estate just on Friday.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay.
I'm not standing. My name's Jade. I was like, I'm just here to watch. I've been in the industry a little over 4 years, and I brought my little brother with me because he is currently doing his test. And the cool thing about him, he's a returned missionary, so he loves door knocking and cold calling. He's the start.
Right. Oh, good.
So I'm in the middle of maybe making a shift just to help him have the best experience at the start.
Good.
So we can come together.
Love to have that. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Cole, where are you?
Oh. Right.
Hello, beautiful, beautiful humans. How are we? Good. Great, awesome, beautiful. March Madness. Is Grace here? I haven't seen her. Grace is in first place. Followed up with Lil Kim over here. Our main man, Jack Perry, is leading the charge with the last place. Here's the problem. He said it was intentional. I invite it.
Mine was intentional last year.
I know. I got mad at Whitney because I said, I've literally named the award after you, and then you didn't even fill out a bracket. So. All right. Who has heard of North Italia, the restaurant? Raise your hand. Okay, a couple hands. All right. It is my wife's favorite restaurant in the world.
Wow.
If she could go to one place, it would be North. It was started by a guy named Sam Fox. Has anybody heard that name before? Man, we're all from Utah. Yeah. All right, Sam Fox is like a, let me ask, Michael McHenry. Does anybody know Michael McHenry?
Yes.
Right? Most people do, right? And he owns, a number of restaurants and businesses and all that jazz. Sam Fox is a guy down in Scottsdale that started and has a shit ton of amazing restaurants and all that jazz. So anyway, my wife has literally been begging them, like to the point where she has been emailing them like once a year to bring North to Utah. And they just opened one in Riverton. So there's your plug. Go try North. It's phenomenal. All right. What else we got? Rates. What are rates doing? Anybody? Yeah, let's be real. They're just riding volatility game, right? They're up, they're down, they're down, they're up. Over the last month, they are down, which is great. Couple, poor days in the market, like yesterday, and you get some, some ups and downs, and yeah. But all in all, like even I would say the temperature of conversations on rates is way better. And it's just a way more positive conversation. I mean, rates are still shitty, let's be real, and I think people need to understand that. But what I'm put up here today is a couple things, and I've got two of them that I want to show, but I've done a couple open houses with a couple agents the last couple weeks. And this is something that any of us intercapital officers can do. All you have to do is basically give them a heads up that you're doing an open house, and these are things that we can put together. So basically what I did, this is a little, might zoom in just for the sake of action.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. All right, so this was an open house. I did with Maggie on Saturday. Maggie,
Yes.
how many people did we have at the open house?
We probably had anywhere between 35 and 40 groups come in, and near 100 individual people.
Now, we had over 100 individual
It was
humans.
insane.
Personally, I have never been to an open house like that. It was 3 hours of constant traffic. Maggie's talking to somebody here, I'm talking to somebody here, somebody's coming in, somebody's going out, somebody's going to the backyard. It was absurd. It was unreal. Like literally I had 3 people download the app to start an application like while we're there. Like how many offers did you have?
I had 14.
So
I heard prices.
So, open houses, they work. This is just another one of those little golden nuggets that helped, especially in a scenario like this. There was so much traffic. You can't have like the longest conversation with every single person that's there. Or even on the flip side, even if like 1 or 2 people show, because the other one, like, we didn't have much traffic at all, but it was still super beneficial and still drove some conversations. But basically, and we can tailor this to, you know, the list price. So this one was at $680 in Salt Lake, you know, Canyon Ridge. So, you know, does it make sense for me to do an FHA loan scenario for this one? No, because the FHA loan limit in Salt Lake County is $619. So it doesn't make sense to even put that scenario in there. But just to kind of give an idea of, you know, prospective buyers as they come in, if they haven't talked to their lender, if they haven't talked to their agent about this specific house, if nothing else, what I have gathered at these open houses is that it gets the ball rolling in their head and it sees some actual numbers, because these are real numbers. I have to get approved with compliance. I pull up, if there's an HOA, we pull up the exact county records to pull up property taxes, so they can see an actual representation of, you know, okay, if I'm putting down 5% on this scenario, my rough estimated payment is $45.77, right? So as they're in the house, they can start to get a feel of like, this is what this could actually look like. It starts to become a little bit more real, right? So it's my long-winded way of saying, before you have an open house, this really doesn't take more than a day or so for us to get put together and approved through compliance. It doesn't necessarily also have to be just for an open house. Like if you have a flyer that you want to do, talk to your intercapital loan officer. Let's put one together. Again, just gets the ball rolling in their heads of, you know, what are some legitimate concrete numbers. And again, this just kind of shows like that we can tailor these. So this is one that Anthony and I did. Whoa, easy there. 470 townhome, right? So on this one, realizing that a lot of these guys were going to be more of your first-time buyers, second-time buyers, or maybe getting in that investor pool. So what we wanted to tailor to was a Utah housing scenario, so no money down, an FHA at 3.5% down, and then a conventional at 5%, right? So again, all these scenarios can be presented, and we'll go into a bunch more of how to do this and when to do this and all those scenarios tomorrow during our Just Mortgages class. But this is just an easy way to get the ball rolling. Any questions on this? Great. Okay, there you have it.
Cool. That's a lot of people at open house.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Tristan with Novation Title, and this is Carla. We have a quick tip today. We've had an influx of expired IDs at closing for some reason. So one way to avoid that at closing, and believe me, Novation Title does send out emails to remind them to bring their IDs. We've also actually had people forget their IDs. But they need to have their IDs, they need to be valid, especially on the lending side. So, but for sellers, when you guys are getting the ERS signed, and you're checking names to make sure that it matches, if the ID is expired or you notice it's expiring before closing, please just let them know that they will need to get that handled. And even if it's like right before closing, we can take those paper IDs from the DMV, okay? So that's a great way with sellers, and then for buyers, Carla has an idea.
Yes, so for buyers, like Tristan brought up, it is going to raise problems for the lenders specifically, but also I just want to reiterate the importance that it does need to be an ID, especially if you're working with people that are not a U.S. citizen. Sometimes they get a privilege card. We cannot accept that, okay? So yeah.
When's a good time for them to check on the buyer side?
Yeah, so on the buyer side, when you're sitting down for that buyer consultation, maybe just, you know, add it to the standard procedure that you're like, oh, let me get your ID. I just always make a copy. Also, that's a really good safety tip, right? You make a copy, you send it to someone when you're out showing. But yeah, just let us know if you have questions, but we can't accept the privilege card. It does have to be like a driver's license or a U.S. passport. So yeah, thanks.
Sweet. Thanks.
ahead and pull your phones out. You're going to pull up Instagram and go to Jack Perry's. Just kidding. I got really excited. All right, so here's kind of a little like tactic trick that can work that I've kind of told a couple people about recently, but I figured I'd share with the whole group. So if you pull up the Lofty app, hopefully you have that downloaded on your phone. Go ahead and pull that up. This is kind of an experiment that I'm going to do with the entire group, so hopefully this goes well. When you pull up the app, at the very bottom, do you see where it says listings and it has like the house icon? So click listings, and then it says discover my listings, and then right below that it says location. Tap location, and it should pull up like the little search bar. Okay, everyone type in this address. It's a listing that's just around the corner, 2206 South Lake Street, and it should start populating the full address, Salt Lake City. And then it's going to pull up the actual listing. It says like who the listing agent is. Okay, under the description of the property, so you have purchase price, the address, 3-bed, 1-bath. Does anyone have any matched buyers? Okay, how many? One. Okay, does anyone have more than one?
What was the house number?
2206 South Lake Street. I have 8 in my database. I have 8 matched buyers. Does anybody have more than one? 7. 2206 South Lake Street. You have 7? I have 8. 8? Wow, okay. So usually we're used to this idea of I have a client, I have a buyer, I have to find them the house. This is doing it backwards. You're prospecting backwards. You're finding the house first, and you're seeing, do I have any buyers for this property? Sometimes I'll do this in my neighborhood if I'm driving around and I see an active listing. I'm like, I wonder if I have any buyers for this house. So this is the way you can do that, is you can use the app or you can do it from the Lofty website. But I like to do it from the app, especially when I'm out and about and I come across a listing or an open house. You can see if you have any matched buyers in your Lofty account, in your database. And when you click on that, like for instance, I have 8, it'll tell you the matched criteria, right? So if you have someone that has like 6, 7, or 8 matched criteria, that's a pretty high threshold that's maybe worth sending them that property. So you're kind of prospecting backwards, if that makes sense. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this with an off-market property. Anyone have any off-market properties available?
Yes.
Woohoo! Is anybody? I have 2 upcoming listings.
Okay. No one cares about Spencer's listings, but all right. So hopefully,
Thanks, Billy.
I don't think Michael's here, so hopefully he doesn't mind it. Oh, Emily, can you help me? Okay, Michael posted the other day that he's selling his house on Sherwood. So I'm going to show you how to do this with an off-market property. You kind of have to do a little bit of a workaround because Lofty is pulling active listings to do that. And if it's off-market, you kind of have to find a comp that's as similar as possible to see if you have a buyer for that off-market property. So with a team this size, this is a way you can leverage all the off-market properties that our team has to see if you have someone in your database that matches that same home. So for example, here's the one on Sherwood that Michael has available, 2588 East Sherwood, right? And what I did is I just found the most similar property that is actively listed, either active, under contract, or backup. It happens to be Sean's listing in the St. Mary's neighborhood on Lancaster. So what I do, I just copy that address, and then same concept, if you go to Lofty and you click on listings, and then right here under all listings, it'll be like 20,000 or something crazy. You just paste the address in here and it pulls up the actual property, and then see where it says matched in the corner. So not a great example because I only have like a couple people in here, and it doesn't have a ton of criteria. Usually you want to see like 6, 7, or 8 matched criteria, but that's a way where you can take any off-market property that you see people post in Slack, find as close as possible house that is actively listed, and then see if you have any matched buyers that you can send that off-market property to. So, that's it. Any questions? Works?
So please, if you have any questions, ask Scott. So, okay, I want Amar and Kenya to come up real quick. Okay, give them a big hand. Both of you take a mic. So, why am I having you up here?
We started a little friendly competition. It was friendly until Jack started getting into it.
It started when Amar found out I closed more deals than him last year. Amar's a bit of a shit talker. And so I said, well, let's run it back and see if you can beat me this year. And so that kind of started things.
So what do you think, Amar?
Well, so he was talking a lot of crap. He started, actually. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to show you who's daddy. So here's the
And now Jack's got a hold of it, and so anytime either of us get an under contract, he calls the other one and starts egging it on. And,
so last week you got one under contract, and then what happened?
Amar got one right after me.
And then
He stole my glory.
Yeah, so I texted him. I was like, oh shoot, what did I say? I can't remember.
I think you said I stole your glory, because you posted it right after me.
Or I stole your thunder, biatch.
So what has it done for you guys?
It's just a fun way, friendly competition to push one another, be better. It also helps that Jack's calling us as well. So, yeah, it's been fun. I'm in the lead right now, and I'm going to keep that.
By how much?
I think one. I got one closing tomorrow, so 2. But
I just want to say it's a friendly competition because he calls me for advice. He doesn't know I'm lying to him though.
So if you can, find yourself in a bar, someone that'll push you and to become a better agent.
Right. Thanks. Give a big hand. So I just want to say I encourage you. Find someone that you can be accountable to. They're having fun with it. And let me just say, like, when Kenny gets something under contract, I'm calling Amar first and saying, man, you letting him, like, beat you that much and everything like that. But one thing that I have noticed with the both of them is deep down they're really helping each other be more successful. I mean, so I just want to encourage you, find someone that you can team up with that says, hey, I mean, I think if one of them doesn't come to the office, the other one kind of bugs them. Where are you? Your lazy thing, what are you doing? So find someone that can kind of, because there's nothing worse than having a bad day and no one knowing. But if there's someone that can encourage you, find that person, it can greatly help. So we had them come up just as kind of like, hey, they're doing it together. Okay, Whitney, it's all yours.
Yeah.
We're not going to sing happy birthday to her, but it's your birthday tomorrow.
Thank you.
So
They already sang cheers. Wait, no, that's my favorite part about my birthday is the birthday song.
Everyone FaceTime her individually.
I wouldn't do that. You know how much I also love champs. Champs on my birthday. Okay, if I can get Ash to come up, Edry to come up, and Emmanuel, where did he go? There he is. I want to just take a minute. So over the last little bit, we've had a lot of new agents graduate the new agent program, but I wanted to bring these 3 up here. They've done a really great. They've done a really great job, and I kind of want to just get some pointers from them as to how they found their success quickly and wonderfully. So if you don't mind, can I ask you a few questions? Yeah, don't tell me. Okay, so what was one thing that you'd say was above and beyond the program that we had set out that helped you get going faster?
So for me personally, it was real life, like getting training that has to do with real life interaction with clients. So from Chris to Boo to Tony, Scott, so I learned how to communicate and articulate my value, how to deliver what I said, because I don't have a problem with getting work done as long as I know what I'm supposed to be doing. So just showing up at these trainings with all these leaders help me kind of craft the skills that I need to show up for my clients.
Oh, and I should have asked, I'm so sorry. When did you join? You're Utah County, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, that's why we don't see his face a lot. He is in Utah County. But when did you join the team?
So I
know.
July, August.
Okay.
But I really started in September.
Okay.
So
super quick.
yes.
Love it.
I think for me, it was very similar to Emmanuel, just attending all the trainings, utilizing the resources that were available to us. So I think what set me apart from and going above and beyond is utilizing my sphere of influence, telling people, hey, I'm now in real estate. I would love to help you out, even if it's just to not, bounce questions off of me. And just being available. I have kind of glued, my phone is glued to my hip. It drives my husband nuts, but it makes me easily accessible, and I think that's also what sets me apart.
Okay, so I kind of have a unique opportunity where I was asked to teach a high school real estate class. And instead of saying no, because I'm busy and I don't have time, I said yes. And I just keep saying yes to things that make me uncomfortable, that aren't necessarily on that list of new agent stuff. And I just do it, and I figure it out, and it works out good. And then that's also been a good value prop for me to be like, hey, I'm your agent, I do this. I'm also teaching, people real estate. So it's cool.
Awesome. Those were awesome, and they were all very different. So I really love that. For those of you who don't know what the New Agent program is, they are with New Agent coaches, me, Svenny, Rebecca, Mags, the guys in the Utah County office. Sorry, I don't know much about you. Don't go there often, no. But so they're with us for their first 5 transactions, and we like to accomplish that within the first year. Now these 3 up here have accomplished those 5 transactions prior to being here a year, which is amazing. I love it. So one of the questions I do have is, what have you learned in your first year? Since you haven't quite gotten there, what have you learned on your journey through your first year in real estate?
Oh, I started. You're starting. Okay. That imposter syndrome is real, and it's pointless and stupid because as the first time I talked to an agent on the phone, I was so scared. I'm like, oh my gosh, they're gonna know I'm new. They're gonna eat me alive. And then I was like, these people are stupid. No, they really are. Some of them are really dumb. And there's no reason that we all can't do this, because some of them are doing this and they don't know how to do this. And I'm like, come on. So no imposter syndrome, just get after it. We got this.
Yeah, what Ashley said, trust yourself. Don't be afraid to try new things and say yes to as many opportunities as you can. Shadowing agents, shadowing open houses, and just being willing. I think that's the biggest thing. You can be taught a skill, but you have to have the will to want to do it and to want it. And so I think that's what has helped me in my first year, and I've learned. And yes, there's some very interesting people who are in this business and are selling houses, and so the better communicator that you can be, that's what's going to set us apart.
What was the question?
What have you learned in your first year of real estate? For you, it's been, what, 7 months? Yeah. Something like that.
So, skills are easy to learn. Anyone can learn a skill. What I've learned from hanging out with winners, because that's the big thing about this team, is that you have to build this resilience and show up and apply the skills when you don't feel like it, because it's not necessarily 100% predictable. Everybody wants guarantees. It's going to happen. It is going to happen as long as you keep showing up and put in the work, applying these skills that you're learning here, because you can learn skills all day long, but if you're getting deflated by the fact that you might run into roadblocks and you quit, The only guarantee is that you won't see any progress, any results. So that's what I learned, to show up and spend time with people that are winning, and be humble, ask questions, and show up as a sponge to absorb information. Process it and apply it.
Okay, well, what I just learned is I'm done. You don't have to ask me. And number 2, I'm going to Utah County because however you guys teach each other to speak, he just got these questions 10 minutes ago and he's like, I don't know what I'm going to say. And then brings out like a
It's the power of the
Oscar
blazer.
speech. Yeah, thank you.
Brooke, why don't you come real quick? So Brooke went to this class last week. What was the class that you went to?
It was a CE class, and it was called the Utah Sports Boom.
What did they talk about?
So there's 3 different individuals that came. One was Nate Lloyd. He came and kind of talked about the economics of everything going on with the Olympics coming up, and just a couple of things on financing. He didn't talk too much about it. I had so many questions at the end. I wanted to know so much more. And then Mark Mon came, talked about downtown Salt Lake and all the changes happening there. And then we also had Brad Holmes that came and represented Larry H. Miller talking about the Power District.
So what, after going to that, what's 2 things that you got out of it?
Something that I thought that was really cool with the Utah Hockey Club is they are redoing everything with Southtown Mall, but they're going to make it more of a community center for people. So there's going to be opportunities for the community to go watch practices and also use the ice rink, which I think is really cool that they're engaging with the community out there as well. And then I'm really excited about all the changes happening in downtown Salt Lake. They're starting construction this summer. They're doing some updates with the Salt Palace and around the Delta Center, making it so you can basically walk from Nordstrom at the end of City Creek all the way to the Delta Center and kind of upgrading that whole area. And that'll take about 3 years.
Okay, from your perspective, what's going to happen real estate-wise? Should you be excited as an agent or like, oh no?
I think it's exciting. I think a lot of people are coming to Utah, especially with the Olympics, all of the sports teams coming here. And I mean, we have the best skiing, snow, everything.
Okay, so if you have any questions about that, please ask Brooke about it. The other night, Sunday night, I was here at the office and I went to Whole Foods about 7 o'clock at night, and I was like, I've never seen that many people walking around Sugar House on a Sunday night at 7 o'clock, and I thought, what's the event? What's happening? So I just want to tell you, I think things are happening. I think people are moving here so much more, and it's getting crazy of where did Maggie go? Okay, come here, Maggie. So Maggie got this listing, and then as you know, how many offers did you get?
I had 14.
So you got 14 offers. How many people can buy that house?
One.
So what? It wasn't a trick question. It wasn't a trick question. What do you think happened to the other 13 people that lost?
They're all genuinely sad. I didn't have a single offer below list price. In fact, I only had one at the list price.
So 13 people, do you think they're going to keep on looking or not look?
Definitely keep on looking.
So how do you think that's going to affect everything?
I mean, I think competition is just going to start going through the roof in those super highly desirable areas and at that price point for sure.
Okay. So you had 14 people make an offer. How many groups walked through the home?
Cole, what, probably 35, 40?
40 groups.
Okay, so you had 40 groups. How many of those were
looky-loos private showings.
How many of those were looky-loos that weren't even like neighbors or people just looking?
We had a couple neighbors come through and one group that said that they saw the signs and so they just popped in. But every single person, because we always ask like, how'd you see, I got really, really, really repetitive because I could not, there was a line of people out the door before I even got there. Like I could not even open the door And I couldn't even get a sign-in sheet up, because if I got a sign-in sheet up, people would be out, they couldn't have come in fast enough. Like it was a flood of folks, I couldn't keep up. And so I sounded really repetitive. I kept asking everybody as they came in, which was every 5 seconds, how'd you hear about the open house? Did you see it online? And they said, yes, I saw it online. So every single person, therefore, was looking online for homes. It was crazy.
Okay, what advice would you have to someone that lists something in the next few weeks and gets tons of offers? How do you manage that? Because it's not easy.
Yeah, if you get into a multiple offer scenario as a listing agent, I think being incredibly clear with your communication to those agents on like what the environment is like, kind of guiding them to make an offer at a you're not obviously telling them, you know, where they need to price, but I was very transparent with every group that came in, buyers, agents, being like, yep, I already have 3 in hand. Oh, my 4th just hit my inbox. I'm expecting 3 more. Like, I was really transparent about the overall environment of the showing and the offer scenario. Then when it came down, I can share this. Actually, here, let me plug in my computer in. I can share what it actually looked like when I was trying to. I made a spreadsheet and was trying to review all of the offers. And I'll share this as a template.
Maggie, how many days did you list
I was
for your open house?
I listed on Thursday, and open house was on Saturday. Yeah, I had 1 offer come in Thursday night, 2 come in Friday, and then open house on Saturday. And by end of day Saturday, I had 11 offers, and then had 3 more come in on Sunday.
And how many showings Thursday and Friday?
We had 23 private showings all weekend, and I'm still getting showing requests, even though I'm telling people we are under contract. Okay, so this was the spreadsheet that I used. Can you guys all see this? Okay, this was the spreadsheet that I created to compare offers. So everything you see here is an escalation clause. So we had 7 different escalation clauses, multiple cash offers. My average purchase or offer price was $712,641. Multiple waiving of all contingencies, including inspection. Offers with loans, waiving appraisal, like just crazy. I do want to shout out. Scott, can I shout out your? What's happening here? Is that one? So we had a group come in that was they filled out an application, I think, with Cole, but they ended up texting me and they were like, hey, they emailed me and they were like, hey, we want to write an offer, a full price offer. And that was it. Like, here's our full price offer from the buyer. And I was quickly responding to everybody, and I thought it was an agent, so I responded to them and I was like, do your clients want to actually write an offer, or is this like your email? I was so confused, and then I realized it was the buyer themselves. So I was like, oh shit. But I told them, I was like, okay, I thought about it for a second and I was like, they said they were cash, like an all full price cash offer. And they came to me and I was like, this is not a situation. I mean, I don't really ever want to double side much of anything. It just is tough. So Scott had called me literally 30 seconds before that to ask about some marketing stuff. And then I called him right back and I was like, I mean, you were lucky. I was like, hey, you want to just take these clients? I know you gotta call me. Yeah, you just need to call me.
So please don't call Maggie 24 hours a day.
How's it going? But I called him right back and I was like, hey, I have these unrepresented buyers. I don't know what they want to do, but can you take them? And he did, and he wrote a really, really super, super creative offer that
lost.
It ultimately lost. I mean, you see, we were listed at $680 and we're about to go under contract at $745 cash. But he wrote a super creative offer where he was going to give me a 50% referral fee on it, which I was then going to turn around and give it to my sellers, so to pay for all their closing costs. So it made the net of that offer super attractive. And it put him on par, even though the purchase price wasn't quite there, the overall net was. So it was, people did super creative
One
things.
last question. When you went to bed on Wednesday night, did you have any idea you were gonna get that many offers and that price?
No, there's no, not at all. And as soon as it started getting going bananas on Thursday, I don't know. I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, as I said earlier, I'm like, did I underprice this? But I don't think I did.
I don't think so.
The comps are super solid, right at 680, maybe 690. You know what I mean? It was just an incredibly desirable area. So I think, I don't know what you guys said earlier was like, make sure your buyers are ready to go. Also, being ready to go and like going through underwriting or going through like the pre-approval process is not an obligation to buy something. But you are going to have to, especially those people that are shopping in crazy competitive areas, just get them ready. Again, it's not an obligation for them to actually purchase, but they need to give themselves a shot. So.
Okay, give her a big hand. Tony Boo. Are you coming up at Tubu or just Tony? Yeah, okay.
Hey, Jack, one more thing. I don't know what it's called, but there were a lot of groups too that when we had asked how they heard or saw the open house. What's it, the Zillow Showcase, whatever that is. You guys know obviously what that is, but there were a ton of people that commented on it and how much easier it was to actually find the listing, more info about it, the floor plan, more people came more prepared. And I would say, I personally had conversations with probably at least 10 to 15 groups that mentioned the Zillow Showcase.
Yeah. I don't know that.
Sweet.
So I don't know what that is,
Okay, great. Thanks, guys. Hey, real quick question. Raise your hand if you were transacting during COVID. Okay, awesome. So if you were transacting during COVID, you know all about multiple offers. The only thing that I want to submit to everybody in the room is, Maggie touched on this a little bit, but it's the importance of your communication with your buyers. It has to be on point. When you're in multiple offer situations, it gets way more emotional. They're going to have to maybe offer a little bit more than they feel comfortable offering. Maybe we're going to have to slice off a little bit of those concessions when they wanted them. So your ability to negotiate with your own buyers becomes pivotal. That's number one. Number two, I would make sure to always have really good communication with your lender as to how much do they need in concessions? Do they actually need the concessions? And are they maybe willing to pay for a part of those? How can we be creative in making that happen? Maggie mentioned in one of the offers that she got, it was very creative. So whether we're talking about escalation clauses, whether we're talking about, again, how much are we going to offer in closing costs or not, it comes down to, do we as agents have the ability to negotiate with our own buyers, which is kind of strange. And for many of us, we maybe have never had to do that before. But now when we're trying to kind of get them over the hump a little bit to make more aggressive offers, it gets more challenging. And not only that, but really, really, really show empathy when you don't win. It's so disheartening for a lot of buyers, especially if it's one offer, two offer, three offers, and it's just not working out. It gets really difficult. And sometimes we're going to have to talk them off the ledge a little bit, but that's the skill set. So if anything, I highly recommend that you take some time to role play those scenarios. Role play a scenario of a buyer that can pay for their closing costs but doesn't want to and is in multiple offers. A buyer that you think should send an escalation clause, they have no idea what that looks like. Can we explain that properly in a way that makes sense? The more time we can spend practicing those scenarios, the easier it's going to be when you're negotiating with your own buyer to try to send an offer that you think has a shot at landing. Does that make sense? But if it's something that you've never had to do before, you don't want the first time that you explain an escalation clause to be with a buyer in a multiple offer situation where you have to send the offer within 90 minutes. That's not what you want to be practicing. We have a phrase in our office that we use often now, which is don't practice on your money, practice on your friends. So don't practice on your money. When it's go time, we have to be sharp. We have to make sure that the buyer understands the implication. If we're going to waive due diligence, what does that mean? Does that mean I can't do an inspection? Does it mean I can still do an inspection? They have to understand what they're signing. And far too often we get trigger happy and we just write up an offer and say, I think this one's gonna win, and they don't actually understand the implication. We have to go 3 levels deeper with this, with our buyers, and again, show empathy when they don't win, because it's really difficult. Yes?
I was just gonna add one thing onto that, like, when you're on the listing side of this, it is so incredibly, it makes a massive difference to work with a buyer's agent that is advocating for their client. Whether it's like a killer offer or not, you know what I mean? Of course, it's gonna come down to, in these scenarios, highest and best in numbers, but I cannot tell you how, I got 2 offers from agents at the same brokerage where they forwarded their offer from Dotloop with no summary, no anything. I couldn't even reply to the email because it comes from like this whole at whatever, Dotloop.com. It's not even their email address.
Don't do that.
It was so
Surefire way I will not
bad.
work with you.
So that's huge, Maggie, because
You
even
have to
if,
communicate your client, like
Yep.
who your clients are, their emails, like write an email summary, take care of your people, advocate for your people. It was so frustrating. It was frustrating because I was like literally drowning, and that's a problem ever to have. But like,
it's crazy, because in a situation like that,
Wait.
they lose because of you.
Yeah.
And you don't want them to lose because of you. You're not going to tell them that, but they lose because of you.
Yeah.
Now the last thing is, try to communicate with these listing agents. Sometimes you're going to be able to get them out on the phone, sometimes you're not. Sometimes they want to talk to you, sometimes they don't. But try and ask questions. Try to gather as much info as you can. There are going to be listing agents that are just going to say, you know what, just send me highest and best, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah.
But there are going to be others that they will engage in a dialogue. Hey, this is what's important. I have had listing agents tell me what their best offer is.
Yes.
Absolutely. And if they have permission from their seller to do that, are they breaking any rules? No, but if you never ask, then you never know. So do the work to gather info, communicate properly, put together a good offer, send it in the correct way, put your people in the best position to succeed. You don't want them to lose because of you. Cool? Thanks, Tony. All right, Boom Addicts. Boom.
Hi guys. It's good to see everybody today. I'm not normally talking into a mic, so if I talk loud and fast, that's my bad. Okay, I got 2 things I want to cover today. Is this better?
I have 2 things I want to talk about today.
Okay, so 2 things. Number 1, I want to give you guys my theory as to why we are seeing these multiple offers right now. And then number 2, I'm going to give you guys what I call my booze clues as to how to win multiple offers. Yeah, so first things first, I think it's important to offer some context. Why are we seeing this right now? So this is my working theory. I've presented it to a couple of buyers, I've presented it to a couple of sellers, and the more I present it, the more I work it out, the better I feel about it. So I think what we are seeing at this point is that we have seen interest rates high for 3 years at this point. And we've seen sellers try to accommodate with concessions. And at first, there was only a couple of sellers that were offering it, then more, and at this point, I think that buyers are walking into this with the expectation of concessions on every single transaction. They are just expecting that concessions are going to be there. And so I think what buyers have now done is that buyers have calculated down to the dollar what they need a purchase price to be in order for this to make sense. No longer do they care about concessions because that's expected. Now they are paying attention to purchase price more than ever before. My theory, my argument is that we are dealing with the most price-savvy buyers that anybody that has been in this room for longer than 6 months has ever dealt with. And so they know the market better than a lot of the agents that they are talking to. They know what a $5,000 price drop on something means to their monthly payment. They know when something is $10,000 priced below market value. Why? Because they have been sitting on the sidelines for 3 years, scrolling on Zillow, waiting for the opportunity. So use that context in both buyer appointments and in seller appointments and help buyers understand why we are seeing this, help sellers understand why we are seeing this. And I think that's why when we see something that is priced $5,000 below what we think market value should be, that we are seeing multiple offers because buyers are that savvy right now. Okay? Everyone following? Okay. Booze clues on how to go and win multiple offers. Now, in my experience, just to provide a little bit of context, I think I have won anywhere between 300 to 350 multiple offer situations. I think I have been involved somewhere between 500 and 600 times on multiple offers. And so the clues for me, okay? First things first, preparation is key. I remember one time I boarded a flight from here, Salt Lake, to Las Vegas. And the announcer got on the PA system and said, hey, we gotta run you through what we're gonna do in the event of a water landing. And I'm thinking, what the hell are we talking about? If we have a water landing between here and Las Vegas, we got bigger issues than a water landing. And so I think that this is a perfect analogy for you guys to be using with buyers when you feel them getting to the point where they're going to be submitting an offer. I would absolutely be preparing them that a multiple offer situation is a very realistic opportunity right now. If you are not prepping them ahead of time and you call them after they submit an offer, after you told them, hey, lowball 20 grand, $10,000 in concessions, let's get this done, and then the next follow-up phone call is what? Hey, we got multiple offers? It's tough. But two things are going to happen. Number one, they'll be prepared if this does happen. But then number two, the other thing you're going to do, which has been very difficult to do in this industry for the last 3 years, is you're going to create urgency. It's been so difficult to do over the last couple of years as we've seen days on market go from 3 to 30 to 60 to 75. So using that strategy will help create a little bit of urgency as well. Number two, sometimes buyers are going to have to lose to understand what is going on in the market. Sometimes buyers are going to have to lose in order to understand what a multiple offer situation means to them. What you do after that loss is going to determine those that continue to transact in this industry going forward. The amount of times that I saw buyers lose and then completely leave the market thinking I'll just wait for a better time. Did that better time ever come? No. So being able to stay in connection with them even after they lose, you gotta start thinking long game, okay? Last thing, for me, the single best line that I got, the script, whatever you wanna call it, that I would give to buyers when they were saying, hey, how much should I go up? Because that is absolutely going to be the question that they ask you. They're gonna look across the table and they're gonna say, LaSalle, what should I do? It's a terrifying moment. And it's a decision that you cannot make for those buyers. So the best line that I ever got is, Jack, what dollar amount can I call you back at that if we lose, we feel okay with walking away from this at? That's the number that we're going to. If I call and say you lost by $3,000, are you going to be okay with that, Scott? No. Okay, let's push to that number where you guys feel okay walking away from this house. If you do those three things, if you prepare people ahead of time, if you understand that sometimes buyers are going to have to lose, so make sure you have systems in place to maintain that relationship after. And then number three, if you can help them go to a dollar amount where they feel comfortable walking away, an educated dollar amount, you will win. And understand this, you guys. We're throwing around statistics saying, hey, we have seen more multiple offers in the last 2 weeks than we have in the last 2 years. But think about it. If you are a real estate agent that's doing the industry average in Utah, which is what? 2.8 transactions. If you're doing 2.8 transactions, it means you have not done a transaction since November. It means you have not done a transaction since October. Are you even aware that this is happening right now? You have no idea. You have no idea. So I want y'all to look at this as an opportunity. Whenever change impacts our market, whenever change impacts our industry, it is an opportunity because we will be ahead of the curve simply because of the volume that we are doing as a team. And I promise that you guys will be prepared, and I promise that you guys will win. Let's have a good Wednesday. Let's go.
He doesn't do enough transaction skills to know that.
Hi, everybody. I'm quick today. I'll let you out. Okay, ChatGPT, super useful tool. And every time I bring something up, I try and test it for a couple weeks, and it's worked pretty well. Does anyone struggle with when a seller wants to price their home a certain way, giving them feedback that they should not price it that way?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I think we all do. Nobody. Oftentimes they have super really true stories, like their neighbor sold for $100,000 more than asking price 2 years ago, and prices were inflated, and their marble countertops are nicer than their neighbor's quartz countertops, or all this really true stuff. So I have a pretty easy way to combat that. And this can be used twofold. When you're talking to sellers who want to overprice their home, or just you want a better understanding. You're about to go to the seller's house and you want a general understanding of what it's worth. Or you are, how I've been using it a lot lately, is you're a buyer's agent on a home that's not selling. So if a home hasn't sold, like if it's brand new to the market, this is a tough tactic, but you'll get what I'm saying. Okay, so ChatGPT, I type in how much have homes gone up since March 2020 in Salt Lake City? Give me a percentage answer. It says about 43%, which is pretty much correct in a lot of counties. And then I say, what about since 2018? And it's 61%. I say, what about 2023? 3.4%. All these numbers are like somewhat off, but they are really in line of, they're pulling a lot of national data from Redfin, Zillow, all that. And so how I use it is, if someone can find a home that sold in 2018, like honestly just get on the MLS and give me an address of a house that sold in 2018 for an exact price. And just do sub 800. I think luxury is a little hard to understand. But if I said, if I purchased my home for $550,000 in 2018, what is it worth now? And it shoots back 886. Like that is a dead-on, very accurate answer if nothing's happened to the home. And so like when I'm talking, and where your value is presentation. Can you get a really good deal on a home as a buyer's agent that's not presented well? This gets a little hard to apply, but like Sotheby's, for example, they typically present their listing well. Peregrine typically presents their listing well. If you buy from a presented well listing and you've done nothing in upgrades, that house is worth about $885. And then I say, well, what if I bought it in what if I bought for $880K in 2018, it says 1.4. What about 972? It says 1566. And so people like data, and people don't necessarily trust that Micah or Michael or Jack is going to walk into your house. What's the general perception with realtors when listing a house? They just want the sale. That's all they care about. And what causes a sale? Like, what is a public perception of what causes a sale? You price a house way too low and you get an automatic paycheck. And so I think a really easy way to combat that is, I have a seller, they're on Lakeline, and they bought their house, I think it's like 970 in 2018. They've done nothing, and they want to list their house for 1.8. That's double and some change. You pull up that stat and say, like, I don't care what you think, and you got to figure out a way to present this. If I had more time, I'd tell you, but like, I don't care what you think, I don't care what your neighbors told you, I don't care what anyone else. Homes in this area have gone up 77%. Like, what do you have to say to that? And I think like it's a really not combative way, if framed right, that is taking the pressure off you and just going like data, data, data. And I think that will tell the truth of the story. So like they have to tell you why they want to overprice their home by about $200,000, and then you can have a conversation from that. Real quick, did anyone find a home?
8728 South Rosie Drive.
Oh gosh, is this yours?
No.
Okay, what did it sell for?
Sold June 2018 for $675.
And you probably know the area. For, you said $675?
It sold for $675.
What does Zillow say it's worth?
$1.25.
Okay, ChatGPT says 1.175. And so you have ChatGPT saying that, you have Zillow saying that, you have two references that are, I would argue, super trusted references. People really trust Zestimate, whether you think it's stupid or not, people really trust it. And then people are starting to really trust AI really quickly. And so I think my whole point to that seller, my guess, if they're not a real estate professional, would walk in and say, like, that house is in a really nice neighborhood. Hey, the one down the street sold at 1.5, so I think we could get like 1.3. And with the agent mastermind, there was really good conversation, especially at like the higher price range. It's not it's not what you can do, but it's how quickly can you establish trust with buyers and sellers. And that is the number one way to get more clients, is how quickly can you be a person that more people trust. And I think you'll get a lot of business from it. That's all I got.
Thanks, Paul. I think the common theme all is that, hey, we as the Perry Group are going to be ready. We're going to help you navigate the shift in the market. I think it's happening really quick, which could be really exciting but scary for some people. Any questions before we leave? No questions? Okay. Thanks for coming, everyone. So please spend a few minutes maybe getting to know some people you haven't seen in a long time or never met. Thanks, everyone.